what IGNOU is doing in specific. May I request Professor?
In agriculture policy programs, we have 4 courses. Out of the 4 courses, 1 course is on the cooperatives and farmers organizations. We have with us Dr. Dhaman Prakash. He is the senior consultant working in the HIPCO Foundation. He is a very experienced person. He has worked in the International Labour Organization Indonesia for 7 years. Then he has also worked in the International Cooperative Alliance. He will be the main resource person telling us about the cooperatives in India.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you and discussing the topic of cooperatives in India. It's a very vast subject and also very important subject so far as agriculture and the social economic development is concerned. We take with you this sort of panorama. Why Indian cooperative movement? It is regarded as very strong economic balancing sector between the private and public sector. Public sector is controlled by the government, whereas the private sector is controlled by the private entrepreneurs. Cooperative sector is the one which is controlled by the people themselves, the farmer themselves and the workers themselves, and it is a parallel or rather intervening economic system between these two important private sectors. You should be surprised in the sense that the Indian cooperative movement is world's largest movement. There is no other movement, there is no other country where you have so many number of cooperatives, so many number of people involved in cooperatives. Just take a look at this. We have 600,000 cooperatives in India of all types, and mind you, 48% of them are related to agriculture. These cooperatives have a membership of 250 million members, and these are all farmers, artisans and people working on the field or related to agriculture and agriculture production. 72% of this membership of 250 million are directly engaged in agriculture. Cooperative is not restricted to villages alone. In India, we have as many cooperatives as many villages, in fact. So, in fact, all the 100% villages in the country are covered by cooperatives. In some cases, 2 villages are in cooperative, in some cases, 3 villages in one cooperative. But all villages in the country are covered by cooperatives. Look at this scenario of cooperative structure in this country. 21 national level cooperative federations. These are the federations which represent various sectors of cooperatives. There are 386 state level federations. There are 3,111 district level federations. 372 district level central cooperative banks which do the lending to the cooperatives and through the cooperatives to the farmers. And they receive the money from the state cooperative banks. There are 31 of them. So this is a structure. We have the primary level cooperatives at the basic level. We have the district level cooperative federations. Then we have the state level federations. Ultimately, all of them merge into national level federations. PACs, Primary Agriculture Credit Societies, these are at the primary level. Most of the farmers, most of the people engaged in agriculture are in the membership of PACs. These packs are the key institutions so far as agriculture in India is concerned, and so far the national food security is concerned. The total food grain in the national food reserves are sourced through the packs. Packs are collecting food grains from the members on behalf of the government, and it goes to the national food reserves. So therefore, we can safely say that packs are the key hubs of national agriculture cooperative structure as well as to the national food security efforts in India. They are, some people think, not so rich, but I tell you, they are very rich and they have a lot of money at their command, whether it's a borrowed money or their own money. But look at the figures we have. The total working capital of cooperatives in India is 5,974,972. It's a big amount in millions. These all in lakhs and millions and trillions. Production credit advance is 4,073,898 million. This is the money that has been advanced to the farmers through these cooperatives. The loans given by these cooperatives, short-term loan or long-term loans or medium-term loans, also is the same thing, about 600,000 million. This is the money which has been sourced by the cooperatives from the banks, cooperative banks, from the government and from the members' own contributions and lent to the farmers for agriculture production and for utilization of cooperative structure and services. So it's not a small organization. It's one organization called cooperative, and this is spread throughout the country. It is an important fabric of the national level cooperatives. At the top of the Indian cooperative movement, there is an institution called the National Cooperative Union of India, NCUI for short. This represents all types of cooperatives, primary level, district level, state level, national level. All these are joined together and they federate into one institution called NCUI. NCUI therefore becomes an apex organization of the Indian cooperative movement, and it is engaged in various kinds of activities for the promotion of cooperatives in this country. It represents all types of cooperatives, all members of cooperatives in the country. Its functions are, in short, representation. Representation is a very important factor. They represent at the state, national, international levels, in all cooperative fora, at the International Cooperative Alliance level, for example, at the FAO, for example, and for other farmers' organizations. This NCUI represents the cooperatives at these levels. Then we have the NCUI dealing with the government on policy dialogues. The government is the one which provides a legal framework to the cooperatives. So therefore, the government has to be advised by somebody how these policy frameworks work, and therefore the NCUI becomes the factor which is responsible for developing policy dialogues with the government. Policy dialogue involves improvements in law, improvements in rules and regulations, policy formulations for cooperatives. It also offers cooperative education and training programs for the cooperatives. Education of members is important because they should be aware of their rights and responsibilities. Training of employees is important so that they perform their operations in cooperatives. Policy research and development, as well as by holding conferences, seminars and workshops to promote cooperative ideas in the country. This is the function of the NCUI. Legal framework of cooperatives. It is a very important factor that an institution has to have a legal framework. There are 4 of them at the government level. One is the Multi-State Cooperative Act. This act is formulated by the central government, enacted by the Act of Parliament, and it applies to those cooperatives which operate in more than 2 states. For example, IFCO or NAFED the organizations which are operating all over the country, and therefore they are registered under the Multi-State Cooperative Act. Then each state has its own laws called the State Cooperative Act or the Autonomous Cooperative Societies Act. All cooperatives in the state are registered by the registrar of that state, and they are registered under these two laws. Important thing is autonomous. Autonomous cooperatives are those cooperatives in which there is no contribution by the government. There is no participation by the government. Members own, but they are cooperative institutions and registered by the state government. Then there are, on some cases, circulars, guidelines, and directives issued by the government through the registrars. So these are the four elements which are looking after the legal aspects of cooperatives in the country. On the other side, since cooperatives are not government institutions, they are all member institutions. They are member controlled, they are member directed cooperatives. So they have their own bylaws, they have their own constitutions, and these bylaws are framed by the cooperatives themselves and then got them registered with the Registrar of Cooperative Societies. So therefore, there are 5 elements. One is the national level Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act, 2 Cooperative Societies Act at the state level, then the directions issued by the Registrar of Cooperative Societies, and the constitution of a cooperative by itself called the bylaws. There are a number of procedures to be followed by cooperatives. For example, relationship with the government. That government means the registrar. Relationship with the cooperative banks mean those banks which lend money to the cooperatives. Loaning procedures, these are identified, regulated by the banks as well as by the registrar and also by the Reserve Bank of India. Loan repayment procedure, there is a certain procedure for loan repayment. These are all laid down by NABARD, Reserve Bank and the government. Bylaws amendment procedure, there is a procedure to amend bylaws. There is a need to improve bylaws of a cooperative. So therefore there is a certain procedure, and these procedures are laid down in the Cooperative Societies Acts. Cash handling procedure, how to handle cash at the cooperative, who is responsible for cash, who is responsible for maintaining of books of accounts in cooperative. Then member accounting procedure. What is the member's stake in a cooperative, how he has to be informed about his business. So these are the procedures which cooperatives have to follow for their members. Cooperatives are not social institutions, these are not trusts, these are not the clubs, these are legal entities. Cooperatives are required to be registered with the Registrar of Cooperative Societies. They must follow government rules and regulations. They must hold regular meetings. They must hold regular and fair elections, must get their accounts audited from the auditors of the government or from chartered accountants, and must observe the provisions of their own bylaws. This is very interesting. A cooperative society, though it is an institution, but it is like a human body. This illustration explains the head part is the general body. There are eyes which look, there are ears which hear, there is mouth which speaks. So this represents the general body of a cooperative. In a cooperative, general body has to express their feelings, their desires, and they become the policies of a cooperative institutions. These are then passed on to the board of directors or the managing committees for implementation. They frame proper policies in a way they are implementable. These implementable policies are given to the manager for processing. Processing here means implementation. Look at this. The manager is at a place where he processes everything. Similarly, the manager processes everything which the general body has given, which the board of directors has indicated, and which the manager thinks can be implemented. The legs are the business institutions. If the legs are strong, the entire body is strong. The whole thing works in tandem. The whole body works in unison, and therefore it is strong. The arms are the supervisors or the auditors and the inspectors. So a cooperative society has to work in tandem with all its organs and has to work together just like a human body functions. Management organs of a cooperative are very simple. These simples are in the sense that there is a general body in which all members of a cooperative are involved, those who have paid shares and those are eligible to vote. They are the members. These members elect a board of directors or a managing committee. They also elect an auditor or appoint an auditing committee. Both of them are responsible to the general body. They must report to the general body. But the board of directors has another function. They are the ones who employ people. They are the ones who employ manager. They are the ones who employ the employees. And these manager employees report to the board, and board in turn reports to the general body of a cooperative. This is the definition, internationally accepted definition of a cooperative. A cooperative is an autonomous association of persons united voluntarily to meet their common economic, social and cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. Enterprise is a business. So cooperative is not a trust, it is not a social institution, it is a socio-economic institution. Cooperatives are based on certain values and some ethical values. The values are social, self-help, democracy, equality, equity and solidarity. Members of cooperatives believe in ethical values. Ethicals are from the social, from the society, of honesty. They must be honest members, honest employees, honest board of members. There must be openness in transactions. There must be social responsibility to the community. Community means members. And caring of others. So these are the foundations of cooperative principles. These are the principles of a cooperative laid down by the International Cooperative Alliance, a world body on the promotion of cooperatives and safeguard of cooperatives. These 7 principles are promoted and reframed by the International Cooperative Congress held in Manchester in 1995. They are still universally acceptable. Voluntary and open membership. Nobody can stop any person to become a member. Nobody can ask any member to get out of a cooperative. So it's voluntary. Democratic member control. Members control the institution. The cooperative is a member-driven institution. Member economic participation. It is said that the users are the key factors in a success of a cooperative. So the members must participate in the business, economic business. Autonomy and independence. Cooperatives are not the government institutions. Cooperatives are members' institutions and therefore they are autonomous, they are free. They cannot be directed by anybody. They cannot be controlled by anybody except by the supreme body, and that is the General Assembly. It provides education, training and information to the members so that members become aware and they become more participative in the organization and business of cooperative. Cooperation among cooperatives, they are not competing with each other. Cooperation means they work together with others, support others. And there is a concern for the community because members come from the community. If the community is healthy, members are healthy. If the community is wise, the members are also wise. These are the 7 principles which are applicable all over the world and acceptable in all types of economies by all types of cooperatives. Cooperative was introduced in India with the enactment of a Cooperative Credit Societies Act in 1904. So we are already 100 years old. In fact, there was a 100-year celebration some time ago. And the main purpose of introduction of cooperatives in India was to save the artisans, to save the peasants, to save the farmers from the clutches of middlemen. We have cooperatives in all sectors of economy in the country. There are some interesting figures. 46.15% of agriculture credit in the country is disbursed through cooperatives, by cooperatives. 28% fertilizer is produced by cooperatives, like IFFCO for example, CRIBCO for example. 37% of the fertilizer in the country is distributed by the cooperatives through the network of PACs and other cooperatives. 60% of sugar is produced through the sugar cooperatives, sugar cooperative mills. 32% of wheat procured in the country is through the network of cooperatives. 50% of animal food produced by cooperatives and distributed by cooperatives. And very interesting, the sweet tooth, 45% of ice cream is produced by the cooperative sector. 50% of oil, branded oil, is distributed, produced by the cooperatives. 55% of handlooms are in the cooperative sectors. 65% of warehousing capacity in this country is handled by PACs, by the primary level cooperatives. And it has generated more than 15 million jobs in the country. So it's not a small sector, it's a very important sector of economy. Some of the important cooperative institutions in the agriculture sector are NAFED, for example, the National Agriculture Cooperative Marketing Federation, IFCO, Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative, CRIBCO, another Farmers Fertilizer, NDDB, the Dairy Board, state level milk producers cooperative unions, National Cooperative Sugar Mills Federation, National Cooperative Banks Federation, state level marketing federation. Some of the important ones are by the state level marketing federation and several others. Some of the key services offered by a cooperative to the farmers are these. 1. These cooperatives do the marketing of agriculture produce. Marketing means whatever is grown by the producer must be sold, and this involves shipment, transportation, this involves warehousing, this involves agro-processing through value addition. Supply of input, for example, fertilizer, seed, equipment, production credit, short-term, long-term, medium-term, is all routed through the cooperative network. And guidance on member education, on farm technology, on extension services is by these cooperatives. These are the 4 key services rendered by cooperatives to its members. Government institution, the service of cooperatives. Cooperatives are not alone in the family. There are many others who are supporting and working for cooperatives. For example, the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperation at the central and the state level are promoting cooperatives. National Cooperative Development Corporation, NCDC, it provides funds to the cooperatives for warehousing, for employment generation, for agro-processing. NABARD is the one which is a funnel of cooperative credit to cooperatives. So it's a NABARD, the one which releases money to the cooperative sector for agriculture purposes. Central Warehousing Corporation, providing space for warehousing of food grains and other items. National Seeds Corporation, quality seed is distributed through the NSC, and cooperatives have become the channels of distribution. Agriculture universities and institutions, they provide research, technology, support to the farmers, and they use cooperative as a medium to pass on this information to the farmers. It's a very interesting thing. Cooperatives are, of course, very big institutions, very important institutions in the country, but at the same time, it's not all rosy all the way. There are certain challenges before cooperatives. Some of them are these ones. Excessive government control, because the government feels that it's a very big network, so therefore the government likes to direct or control them. There is official controls on cooperatives in some way or the other. Inability to compete in the open market. Since cooperatives are farmers' institutions, since cooperatives are poor men's institutions, they have not yet changed into the more modern system of management. They are still traditional in their approach in business and cash handling, material handling, information sharing. Low member participation. Members are not educated, they are not aware of the rights and duties, and therefore they feel, it's the board of directors which control the cooperative, therefore they do not participate much with enthusiasm in the organization and business of a cooperative. So therefore there is incidence of low member participation. Low capital mobilization. Cooperatives have been thriving on loans and credit from the banks and from the government. So therefore there is no initiative, not much of initiative, to mobilize funds of their own capital. Low performance competence level. Some of the employees are not fully trained, they are not qualified, though they are academically qualified, but they are not so much qualified or experienced in transacting cooperative business. There is a poor business cooperative network. For example, if you take NAFED or you take other institutions, they tend to distribute or produce things on their own and distribute it themselves, not using the cooperative network. So therefore, there is a problem of competition between the national or marketing or federation, state level federations, all cooperative themselves. So there is a problem. Poor business cooperative network, they are not able to unite together, and therefore there is some problem in distribution of services. Complicated government rules and regulations, because they are phrased in a very legalistic manner, therefore the members do not understand them. And there are some high political intervention, because there is a mass of people involved in cooperative, therefore the politicians like to interact with them more closely. And poor government patronage. The government doesn't give much of financial assistance like tax benefits to the cooperatives, and therefore there is a problem there. This is a challenge before cooperatives. In the immediate past independence development phase, cooperation was conceived as a cooperative commonwealth for India's economic development. This was the strategy by the Planning Commission. Nehru wanted India to be convulsed with cooperation. Nehru was the strong promoter of cooperatives in the country, and he was the one who supported cooperatives so strongly. Cooperation was conceived to be a strong pillar of economy together with the public and private sectors.
Why and when this cooperative movement is introduced in India?
Well, thank you very much, Doctor. The simple is that 1904 is the step brought in by the British government to introduce cooperative structure in India, and it was through the Credit Cooperative Societies Act of 1904. The main purpose was to protect the peasants from the clutches of middlemen.
Clutches of middlemen.
That's right.
So still this is
Still, it is still there.
Still there. So what are the principles of cooperatives basically?
Well, these are in fact 7 principles. And if I take you back to the principles, and these are the principles: voluntary and open membership.
Yeah.
It's a free society. Democratic member control. Members manage, members drive, member control the cooperative themselves through the general body. Members' economic participation. Members are expected to use the cooperative services to strengthen it. Autonomy and independence. Cooperatives are not controlled by the government. They are free, they are autonomous, they can take their own decision. Education, training and information is the key factor in strengthening cooperatives. And cooperation among cooperatives is the important factor where cooperative is united, and the concern for the community.
Why this principle of education and training and information is important basically?
Well, this members have to be aware to exercise their rights and duties.
Okay.
Very few people know what are their rights. Though they are written in the bylaws, very few members read those bylaws, and therefore it is the important factor for the cooperative society to educate their members to be aware of their rights and duties.
That's why I think IGNOU has started this program.
I think you have gone in a very right direction by including this factor in your curriculum.
Yes. So what is the number of the cooperatives and their members in the India basically? How many cooperatives are still working very efficiently in India?
There are 2 aspects of your question. One is the total number of cooperatives in this country as today is 6 lakh, 600,000 cooperatives of all types at all level. It's a huge number. There is no other country where you have such a huge number of cooperatives. 125 million are the members of these cooperatives. Now the question which you have posed, Doctor, is that how many of these cooperatives are efficient?
Efficiently, basically.
It's a very big question. Some time ago, Planning Commission had conducted a study, and also it has been found out that half of the cooperatives become active only when there is a crisis. Otherwise, they are sleeping.
Yeah.
So most of them, though they are legal entities, but they become active only when there is a crisis. For example, shortage of food grain. For example, distribution of sugar. For example, distribution of essential commodities.
So who is the owner of this cooperatives? Or who control these cooperatives basically?
Well, Doctor, there's a very important question in the sense that, in Hindi they say Sahakari Samiti. But in a slang, it is known as, when you talk of cooperatives, it is said as Sarkari Samiti. It is not a Sarkari Samiti. I can tell you, Doctor, this is not a Sarkari Samiti. Sarkari Samiti is the one which is managed, controlled or propped by the government itself. But it is a cooperative sanstha. It is a Sahakari sanstha. So members are the one who control. Members are the ones who put their own money in there. Members are the ones who manage the cooperatives. So it is a members cooperative, not the government.
So all the benefits is shared by the members.
By the members, of course. But there is a condition. Members must make use of the services of a cooperative.
Okay.
If members do not make use of the services of the cooperative, then cooperative will not work.
Okay.
It will not. So the benefit will not go down to the members. Rather, the cooperative become a liability to the members.
Yes.
If members use, more money generated, more money comes into play. So the members get benefits.
So what is the procedure to be the member of the cooperative, if you can?
Well, of course, ethically or philosophically, anyone can become a member of a cooperative. But in a law, in Cooperative Societies Acts, there is a provision who can be the member. Number one, he should be the citizen of India. Number two, he should be adult. Number three, he should not be a defaulter or declared bankrupt or something. He should be mentally sound. All these are the ones. These are some of the conditions laid down to become a member. Any citizen of India can become a member of a cooperative, conforming to certain rules and procedures given in the Cooperative Societies Act. And these slightly vary from one state to another. But in principle, anyone in India, a citizen of India, in good health, who is not a bankrupt, can become a member of a cooperative by paying a share, by subscribing admission fee and share.
Is it necessary to be the active member of the cooperative society, or if someone is not very much interested in the cooperative, still he will be the member?
Well, anyone who has paid share capital can remain the member. Nobody can ask him to go out.
Okay.
But what you have said is active and inactive. There are a very large number of sleeping members. They just become the members because somebody asked them to be the members, and because they might need loan from the cooperative at some time. But by and large, most of the members are coming to the general body meetings. And our understanding is, in our work, we have found that almost 65% of members of a general body participate in the general body meeting.
Sir, what do you mean by multi-state cooperative act actually? What do you mean by this?
Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act 2002 provides for registration of those cooperatives which operate in more than one state. So, for example, if you take Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative, it's a multi-state cooperative. It operates throughout the country, in all states. It has offices everywhere and it has members from everywhere. So therefore, they are registered as multi-state cooperative societies. NAFID is another one, for example. Amul is another one, for example. There are several others. Cribco is one, is a registered multi-state cooperative. Any cooperative which has area of operation extending to states or more, 2 states or more, is registered under the Multi-State Cooperative Act.
What is the procedure of registration of a cooperative?
Well, there are certain procedures laid down in the Cooperative Societies Acts, how to register a cooperative. In principle, there should be a meeting of interested people who would like to form a cooperative, who would like to become a member. So it is called a promoters meeting.
Okay.
So first they hold a meeting, promoters meeting. It can be more than 11 persons, so 15 persons, or maybe even 20 persons. They decide their strategy. Yes, we want to become a cooperative and therefore we want to form a cooperative. Then they ask the district cooperative union or the office of the registrar of cooperative societies to provide assistance to them how to formulate a cooperative. Then the inspector or the district union instructor will come and they will assist in telling them this is the procedure, and that procedure is formulation of a bylaws first. Then if you bylaws means they are given the draft bylaws, model bylaws. Those model bylaws need to be improved, in which the aim, objects and all these things are indicated in the bylaws. Then that promoters meeting will pass a resolution. Yes, they want to become a cooperative society and therefore they are willing to accept a model bylaw in a cooperative. After this is passed in a meeting, then they pass a resolution, we want to become a cooperative, and then it is moved on to the registrar of cooperative, generally the assistant registrar of cooperative. They examine the bylaws, they look at the resolution, and then they approve the bylaws, give a stamp on it and get it registered.
Is there any limitation on the number of the member in a cooperative society?
There is no upper limit. Any
minimum limit is
minimum in some cases 11, in some cases 15.
So then two cooperative society, they may have different bylaws or laws?
It depends on the state, in which state you are. But generally, by and large, all cooperative societies acts are similar except few variations. Bylaws are also similar, but it depends. What are you registering? Are you registering a marketing society? Are you registering a consumer cooperative? Are you registering a students cooperative? Then of course the objectives will be different. But the operative clauses of cooperative bylaws are almost the same. Rights and duties of members, general body meeting, what are its rights, executive committee meeting, these are the ones.
So you can name any 3-4 who are the most successful cooperatives in India?
Most successful cooperatives in India are many, but the most important one which you want me to tell is IFCO, for example, Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative. It is a world's largest chemical fertilizer producing and marketing cooperative organization. It is controlled by the farmers. Farmers contribute to the share capital of this cooperative. It has 5 plants operating in India at 110% capacity. It has a huge network of distribution. Huge network means through the cooperative. They do not sell in the open market. IFCO is working only for the farmers and through the farmers organization. So it's one of the very shining example of a very successful cooperative in India. It has a name in the 300 global cooperatives. It is indicated there. It is world's important cooperative institution. Second one I can mention is probably CRIBCO, which is also the same as fertilizer producing and distributing cooperative. Another one can be the Kheda District Cooperative Milk Producers Union, which markets Amul, for example. Amul is known not only in India, it's known all over the world. Amul is the brand name of a cooperative product. Amul milk, Amul butter, Amul skimmed milk, Amul variations, these known is a household name. So it's an important institution, and mind you, 45% of India's ice cream is produced in the cooperative sector, not only by Amul, but by other cooperatives in this country. So these are the 3. Another one can be, you can mention sugar cooperatives, for example. These are very important institutions. But these are the household names which I have just indicated.
There are many fruit producers cooperative societies working in the many states, and particularly in the Maharashtra, Gujarat. How they affect the farmers' economy basically? Fruit
In Maharashtra and also in Gujarat, there are some cooperatives dealing in the chiku business, for
Chiku,
example.
banana in
Chiku,
Maharashtra.
banana, for example. they have contributed to the economic strength of the producers, and because of their network, marketing network. Believe it or not, the Chiku producing cooperative in Gujarat, for example, ships Chiku not only to Delhi but also all over the country, and it reaches the destination within 3 to 4 days. When it is packed from Gujarat, it is a raw form, but when it is delivered at the market, it is all ripe, and it must be. So you can imagine they set up their own shipping and grading setup, which means the various types of size, weight of Chiku is produced and packed in cardboard boxes. They do not use the wooden boxes. They use cardboard boxes which are distributed all over the country. Well, in this way, the farmers don't have to run for marketing of their produce. They can go to the cooperative. Cooperative buys the whole thing and then grades and ships it to the various destinations in the country.
So what are the problems basically faced by the cooperatives? Problems basically.
No institution is complete without problems. There is one thing we should understand, and there is a moon looks very beautiful, but there are dark spots in it. Similarly, the cooperatives are institutions which are run by the people, and people always have ambitions, and some of the peoples are over ambitious. So in this way, the institution is always subject to various pressures from here and there, and therefore the cooperatives had a number of problems. For example, in some states in India, there are government officials who are appointed as managing directors of cooperatives. There is no reason for the government officers to be the managing directors. Of course, the government says, because we have contributed to the share capital of the cooperative, therefore we have the right to provide a managing director to an institution. And to justify that, they get a resolution passed by the cooperatives. Yes, we need a government officer to look after our management. Of course, maybe true that way, but once you have a government officer sitting in a cooperative being the managing director, then the system becomes difficult. So these are some of the basic problems.
Who are the government bodies which form the cooperative policies in India?
Well, basically, the government policies are framed by the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperation. Mm-hmm. That is the principal body in our country, and of course, it is supported by and helped by the National Cooperative Union of India. Both of them together, they discuss on certain policies and programs.
Thank you, Dr. Prakash. I think you explained very well to us. I think our students definitely benefited from your presentation. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your cooperation. Thank you very much. Thank you.